more problems than maybe being a bit more open with the media and with the fans.
And we're building up to the kick-off at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth against Brighton on the way in less than 10 minutes' time. Jermaine Jenas is at the stadium alongside Alistair Bruce Ball. What about the varying atmospheres that you've played in, Jay? I mean, it sounds great, doesn't it, to be a player in the Bundesliga and enjoy all of that?
It does. You know what? When I think me and Owen were together when we went to Dortmund to watch Spurs play there, and I remember saying to Owen, "This is absolutely unbelievable."
One of the best, isn't it, JJ? There,
it's scary the way that they treat their fans. They all get this kind of like loyalty card. There's no cash being paid over the counter for your beer or your hot dog. It's all. This system is just run perfectly. Everybody seems happy within the environment. You know, they do it right and they do it proper, and I think it all stems from ticket prices. It really does. I think there's that mutual respect between fans and clubs, and love between fans and clubs, and you see that. I almost feel embarrassed at times when especially the German sides, when Bayern Munich came to Arsenal last year and was throwing all the tissue onto the pitch, or when Dortmund were at Wembley on Wednesday night and Cologne at Arsenal again. The atmosphere and the excitement that they obviously bring, it's unbelievable. It really is.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, Cologne overstepped the mark in terms of what they did, and it was completely wrong in integrating themselves into the fans and bringing too many people. Granted, but you really can't ignore the amount of love and passion that they have for their clubs, and they take it all across Europe. So, yeah, you kind of sit there a little bit envious at times that you didn't have that.
Yeah, we're going to see plenty of passion at the weekend on Sunday as well, because we've got this London derby, Chelsea at home to Arsenal, the champions against Arsene Wenger's side, who seem to be under the microscope every time they go onto the field. It's a big game, this one, but I mean the stats would tell you that this should be a straightforward Chelsea win. I think the numbers are that Arsenal have won 2 of 21 games against the established top 6 since the start of the 2013-14 season. You can't expect to be a successful side of Arsenal standing if you can't beat teams around you. That's a big problem for them, Jay, isn't it?
Oh, it's a huge problem, and it has been for a long time. You know, Arsenal have been dug out in terms of their their mental strength, their physical ability to win those types of games. And the worst part about it is this particular game at Stamford Bridge is the one that always epitomises their season. It really is. It can't, no matter what kind of vein of form they go there, whether it's kind of they're in good confidence and feeling great, they go to Chelsea and it always gets knocked out of them. And Arsenal fans unfortunately have to walk out of there going, well, we need to change this, we need to change that. We're not ready. We haven't got that steel that we want to have in midfield. For some reason, Chelsea always manage to just bully them into losing on that particular day, and I just don't know if I've seen enough this season in terms of players they've brought in and performances that tells me anything's going to change come the result of the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that game, I think there's only one winner. Chelsea, for me, are a defensive team. I know they scored plenty of goals last season, but for me, that's a defensive team. Second best goalkeeper in the country in Courtois. A back 3 plus 2 wing backs, that's 5, and 2 sitters. You know, those are all defensive players. The front 3 wreaked havoc on their own last season, Costa, Pedro and Hazard. And for me, Arsenal used to be the best attacking team in this country, used to play the best football with Manchester United. They don't do that anymore. Why all of a sudden do they have to go to Stamford Bridge and go to all these places and out-football everybody? They tried it against Bayern Munich last season, but they get beat 10-2 over 2 games.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden they need to
Just to prove that you've still got, Jay's back as well.
Exactly.
He's a little bit wounded tonight, you can tell.
enjoy the game, JJ.
Yeah.
We'll do, mate.
So the players are on their way out. Bournemouth against Brighton from the Premier League coming up shortly, and we can hear now from the Bournemouth captain Simon Francis. He's playing tonight, and he's just been talking to 5 Live Sports' Andy Gillis.
First off, you find yourself in a in a difficult position. I've been reading your programme notes, and you say that in these situations you simply have to work harder, fight together, and try and improve your lot.
Well, I think that's the only thing we can do in these situations. What I will say is, although it's not a great thing to have, we do have experience in these situations of being behind and losing games and going on runs of not winning games. It's happened before in the Premier League, the Championship and League One, so we draw experience from it. We know we can come out a better team, and hopefully that starts tonight.
The manager has said that you've got to hold your nerve and got to get back to your passing game. Do you accept that?
Yeah, I think so. I think being the manager, he knows us best as a group of players, and he knows what's best for the team, so I'd 100% agree with that. I think we have to get back to what we were doing best last season, what brought us the success of finishing 9th in the Premier League, and we simply haven't got to those levels yet this season. It's still early days, but the sooner we get that first win, the better.
So that's the Bournemouth captain Simon Francis, who's on the field at the Vitality Stadium with the rest of his teammates, as are the players from Brighton. And your commentary team on 5 Live Sport tonight, Jermaine Genus alongside Alistair Bruce-Ball.
Thank you, Darren. Just a few minutes away from kick-off. It has all gone a little bit disco ahead of the start of the game this evening here on the south coast, just before the players emerge from the black and red tarpaulin that covers the tunnel on the way out. The floodlights were flashing on and off, all the lights around the stadium, turning the immaculate playing surface here into a little bit of a dance floor. Thankfully, they haven't blown the bulbs. We've had a heck of a lot of rain here, actually, in the last couple of hours. So much so, I got a phone call from Jermaine from the car park at about 6 o'clock this evening, and you were actually worried about making it from car park into... I mean, that sounds ridiculous, but it was torrential, wasn't it?
It was absolutely ridiculous. You know, I pulled up to the car park, I've wound my window down to talk to the steward to say, look, we're going to park. And my car got absolutely flooded to the point I just wound it back up and drove off. I said, there's no point. I'll find somewhere.
They've had to do a bit of clearing up in the car park. They've had to do a little bit of clearing up in the concourses at the back of some of the stands as well. But I spoke to the head groundsman about an hour and a half before kick-off. He said, don't worry about it, as the rain was absolutely thundering down. He says, the drainage here is immaculate. I've never seen a puddle on this pitch. And he's absolutely spot on. It looks great. Big game tonight for both Bournemouth and Brighton. You do sense a little bit of apprehension from the home fans. Yes, they roared their team out onto the field, but they know this is a big one. Bournemouth have lost their first 4 league games of the season. Admittedly, the last 2 have been against Manchester City and Arsenal. But by Eddie Howe's own admission, performances in 3 of those 4 games, apart from the Manchester City game, just have not been good enough. So they need a result tonight, and they definitely need a performance tonight. We heard from the club captain, Simon Francis. He comes into the Bournemouth team. Steve Cook drops out. He has a slight knee injury. The first time in almost 2 years, by the way, that he hasn't started a league game in the centre of defence for Bournemouth. So Simon Francis comes in. Bournemouth go back to a back 4. Tyrone Mings drops. Red and black vertical stripes, black shorts, black and red socks, playing from left to right in this first half towards the Ted McDougall stand. The Brighton fans are opposite us in a stand alongside one of the touch lines here. They've got about a third of that, but their team are playing in change kit this evening. They're pretty much all in yellow. Their goalkeeper, Matt Ryan, the Australian, is all in light blue. He's cleared with his right foot, and Bournemouth get the ball down and they want to play. Charlie Daniels zips a pass down the line. Good return ball from Mark Pugh. Daniels, low pass in towards Josh King. Didn't find his man. Daniels slides in and wins a 50-50 ball back for Bournemouth. They've got it on the left-hand side. Only scored 1 goal in the Premier League this season. That came from the left foot of Charlie Daniels. It came against Manchester City. Another cross into the penalty area. A stooping header away. Solly March gets on the ball for Brighton. Plays it back to Marcus Suttner. one of the summer signings from Ingolstadt. He clears with his left foot, and Nathan Aki intercepts and plays it back to Asmir Begovic. So, minute and 20 seconds in, Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Go on.
And there's your first warning.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty inevitable, and I'd be surprised, if Chris Hughton or somebody's not out of the technical area really making sure that either the midfielder's going to have to get across and cover, or that Anthony Knockaert does stay with Charlie Daniels. It's a tough ask. He's a strong runner, Daniels, but he's going to have to do it because he's going to keep getting forward.
Harry Arter from a slightly deeper position, central midfield 2 for Bournemouth this evening. Sermon and Arter. So Fraser and Pugh on the flanks, Defoe and King through the middle, Begovic in goal, Adam Smith at right back, Simon Francis and Nathan Aki the centre backs, Charlie Daniels left back. Good run from Ryan Fraser into the penalty area, and again this time the pass is not quite right because he couldn't find Josh King, he couldn't find Adam Smith, and Brighton eventually have won themselves a goal kick. Lewis Dunk knocks the ball into the legs of Adam Smith, and Brighton have a chance to clear their lines, but they've attacked down the left, they've attacked down the right, they've got in both times.
And this is the Bournemouth they're more used to seeing. They're looking fresh, they're looking like they've got confidence. Just that final ball at the minute that they are lacking, but that was good defending from Dunk there. He really didn't get sucked into what would have been an easy pass. He kept his line and read the pass and cut it out.
Matt Ryan then clears for Brighton. Just under 3 minutes played here at the Vitality Stadium. Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. The 101st meeting between the two clubs in league football, but the very first one in the top flight of English football. Charlie Daniels plays the ball to Nathan Aki. I'll give you the full Brighton lineup in just a second. Just the one change from that win against West Brom. Simon Francis passes the ball straight out of play, so the passing just not quite there for Bournemouth so far this evening. Matt Ryan in goal for Brighton. Liam Rossinia's coming at right back, Marcus Suttner at left back, Shane Duffy and Lewis Dunk the two centre backs, Anthony Knockaert and Solly March on the flanks for Brighton. Davy Proper, £10 million from PSV he cost this summer, has started well for the club alongside Dale Stevens in central midfield, and Pascal Gross, who had that wonderful game against West Brom, scoring 2 and making 1. He plays off Tomer Hemed up front. Bit of pace from Liam Rossinia on the right-hand side, plays the ball into Knockaert. Knockaert's pass eventually makes its way to Hemed, plays back to Proper, and Proper floats a pass again out towards Liam Rossinia on the right-hand side. 10 yards inside the Bournemouth half, chips the pass down the touchline, cross into the area from Gross, did well to get that ball in, and Begovic comes hurtling out, falls down on the ball immediately, picks himself to his feet, bowls it out underarm, finds Harry Arter right in the middle of the pitch, and Brighton have let Arter run 40 yards forward up to the halfway line. Plays it to the short, stocky figure of Ryan Fraser, the Scotsman. Back to Arter in his bright yellow boots, across to Andrew Sermon, who just likes to keep things ticking over in Bournemouth central midfield. Simon Francis to Adam Smith. Brighton just holding their position here. Bournemouth playing just inside their own half. So different centre-back pairing for Bournemouth tonight. That's Simon Francis and Nathan Aki. Play the ball to each other. Sermon coaxes Charlie Daniels into action on the left-hand side, and again Bournemouth come back out and across via Aki, via Francis. Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Almost played 5 minutes in the first half here, and Adam Smith makes a little turn, plays the 1-2 with Josh King. King's ball didn't find Smith, Arter got it, plays it to Fraser. Fraser cuts in from the right-hand side, low cross is volleyed away, and the Bournemouth pressure continues. Arter to Sermon, 40 yards from goal. Jermaine Defoe gets a first touch of the evening, almost loses it. Harry Arter gets it back for Bournemouth. Fraser goes wide to Adam Smith. Smith comes in off that right touchline. Back to Fraser, looking for the little 1-2, and who got the last touch there? It's gone out for a goal kick to Brighton. Let's get an early update from Roddy Forsyth in the game of the Scottish Premiership this evening. That's Partick Thistle against Rangers. Roddy.
And Rangers on the attack as you speak. 18 minutes gone here, still scoreless. First of 3 Glasgow derbies within a week for Rangers. 2 against Thistle, 1 against Celtic, and there is a goal that puts them into the lead, and the man who got it is Morelos on the far side of the penalty area, as best we can see, because the fans are all surging in front of us. But it was a lancing move off to the right hand side, finished by a low angled shot across the Thistle goalkeeper Scully. It's Partick Thistle 0, Rangers 1. Perfect timing, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Roddy. 0-0 here, Bournemouth against Brighton. First of 4 Premier League commentaries on BBC Radio 5 Live this weekend. Brighton in the yellow shirts, building play down the right-hand side. Pascal Gross to Rosenior, gets it back to Gross. Gross right by that touchline over on the right, again to Rosenior, and again comes back to Gross. So Bournemouth holding their shape well this time, and Brighton have to come all the way back into their own half. Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Dunk, Brighton's centre-back, decides to go long with his right foot and clubs it miles down the pitch and out for a goal kick. Jermaine Genius.
It was too straight a pass that from Dunk. I mean, you can already see what Chris Hughton has asked of his players, you know, maintain their shape, keep possession, try and frustrate this crowd, you know, and that's kind of the obvious tactical plan, given the fact that Bournemouth have had such a terrible start to the season. I mean, he's thinking that's going to go against them, but I think Bournemouth has started the better side, but it's going to be down to them to break down this Brighton side tonight.
Sermon inside his own half, clips the ball with his left foot across a skiddy top surface here. Simon Francis picks up speed, overruns it, wins a 50-50, goes in for another 50-50, and Suttner comes out on top, and Brighton get the throw. Let's get an early check-in on the rugby in the Aviva Premiership this evening. Kicked off about 20 minutes or so ago, I think. Northampton against Bath, being watched by James Burridge.
Yes, Ali, halfway through this first half, Northampton leading by 5 points to 0. They've certainly had all the possession, most of the territory. Courtney Laws with the score and the near side corner after Northampton played with a lot more width, a lot more attrition. They've been guilty of just lacking that intensity so far this season. You remember that thrashing they received to Saracens at the start of the season. Bath, well, for their part, Anthony Watson's struggling with a right knee injury at the moment, which will be concerning for the watching at Eddie Jones to my right hand side. They've barely touched the ball, really. They certainly haven't had much of it in the 22. It's Northampton lead by 5 points to 0.
Thank you, James. Rangers 1 up at Partick Thistle, as we heard from Roddy. And here, Premier League commentary tonight on BBC Radio 5 Live. Early stages, 8 o'clock kickoff, 8 minutes played, and it is Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Charlie Daniels strokes a ball infield to Sermon, looking for Defoe. Couldn't find him. Brighton could possibly break from here with Hemed, the Israeli centre forward, up to the halfway line. Comes back to Marcus Suttner, the Austrian, who goes back to his goalkeeper Ryan. Jermaine Defoe takes a tumble in front of the Brighton fans. They enjoyed that. He's trying to win the ball back for Bournemouth, and Brighton have worked this well, and Knockaert has just found himself a little bit of space on the right-hand side, drifting across the pitch here, shoots from range low. Begovic goes diving away, had it covered, and it goes behind for a goal kick. Jermaine.
It was a good bit of play from Brighton, nice and confident at the back, patient, played into midfield, and once he gets the Knockaert, he's kind of he's trying to trick the goalkeeper there. He's looking out wide as if he's going to switch it, and goes for the strike towards the near post, but Begovic had it covered. 15
goals in the Championship last season. Anthony Knockaert, best player in the division, one of the big reasons why Brighton are now playing Premier League football. Just talking about the importance of the match for Bournemouth this evening to try and get off the mark. Back-to-back wins for newly promoted teams are not easy to come by. Brighton won this evening, suddenly picked up 6 points from 2 games into the top half of the table. That would be a very, very satisfactory start to the season.
It would be, given the tough start that they had as well. I mean, Manchester City at home, Leicester away, they're tough fixtures, and he's really managed to kind of steady the ship, maintain their confidence, and get them into some type of rhythm. And you can see already they're going to be tough to break down tonight. They hold their shape, don't take too many risks, and they're going to play on the counter, and they've got some dangerous players.
Adam Smith into Sermon. Bournemouth trying to break Brighton down at the moment. Charlie Daniels, 35 yards from goal. Some of the Bournemouth fans were shouting shoot. He's given it to Mark Pugh. Little step over from him. Beats Rosenior, then gives the ball away and couldn't get the cross in. And Knockaert actually was back there to help out for once. Plays a little 1-2, then goes on the dribble inside his own penalty area. Plays a pass across field. Suttner didn't want to chase it, so Adam Smith has got it for Bournemouth. Finds Fraser. Fraser quickly on to Arter. Long way out, left-footed drive, and he sliced it badly. And it's behind, and he's appealing for a corner? Surely not. Goal kick, definitely, all day long.
That's what you do when you hit them like that. you hope and you pray that it took a deflection, because you can't believe you hit it that bad. But no, it was worth a go. You know, it really was. It might have actually come off his back.
Yeah, maybe.
In fairness to him, but yeah, look. If part of me goes, look, no, keep the ball, work it out wide. That is where they're going to get the joy tonight. You can see already that is where, you know, with Fraser on this side and Pugh and Daniels on the other side, just keep getting it wide. That would be my message to Bournemouth.
Just talking about the Brighton bench, Tim Krul is yet to appear for the club. Not on the bench this evening. Nicky Maranpar, the Finn, continues as the goalkeeping substitute, and the Colombian Jose Izquierdo who was signed for £16 million from Club Bruges this summer. Can't break into the team at the moment. Has made one substitute appearance so far this season. But there's some talent on that Brighton bench as well to come into the side. Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Charlie Daniels, left-hand side, midway inside the Brighton half. Plays it back to Arter. Arter in turn onto Aki. And when Bournemouth have it, Brighton will just sit in their lines of 4 inside their own half. Just ask Bournemouth to try and play through them, get round them, and that's what Bournemouth are trying to do. And I can already see Eddie Howe deep in conversation with Jason Tindall, his right-hand man, down on the side of the pitch here. Daniels crossing from the left-hand side over the head of Defoe, cleared by Brighton. Harry Arter gets the ball for Bournemouth again. Lots of Bournemouth possession here early on. If you have just tuned in, Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0, and Rangers leading 1-0 at Partick Thistle. Adam Smith, Bournemouth's attacking right back, is running into a little bit of a cul-de-sac here, going sideways across the pitch, has 3 Brighton players in front of him, but Bournemouth have got it away to Charlie Daniels on the left-hand side. Knockaert is back to try and block his cross. He plays it back to Arter. Arter finds Sermon. Sermon threads it through here to the edge of the area. Mark Pugh's there. Pugh just turns one round the corner for Daniels. His cross into the near post is easily intercepted by Dale Stevens. He plays a 1-2 with Pascal Gross. It's fired up to Tomer Hemed. Good work from the big striker there. Chested it down, kept the ball for his team. And Brighton can try and build from inside their own half. Solly March, lovely layoff from Hemed back to March. March keeps it on the left-hand side. Hemed with a little back heel. Josh King in with the tackle. And Brighton get the throw.
Yeah, some really good play there from Hemed at the top. His team were under pressure. They cleared the ball, and that's what you want. Get your centre forward to hold up that ball with quality. He's laid it off, he's got it back again, and now look at Brighton. Halfway up the pitch in the attacking half. That's all because of good hold-up play from the striker.
Jermaine Genus with us as usual on a Friday night here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Throw in Brighton, Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Sutner slings that high and hard down the left-hand touchline, headed away by Simon Francis. Ball bounces down inside the Bournemouth half, and Brighton get it. Shane Duffy across to Liam Rosenior. Rosenior chips one down the line towards Gross. Awkward bouncing ball for him, but he's kept it for Brighton, gave it to Knockaert, and Brighton come back again. And Josh King comes sprinting forward for Bournemouth to put a bit of pressure on Lewis Dunk. Dunk tries to ping the diagonal 40 yards away to the right. Knockaert keeps it in play with a header. Heads it down to Rosenior. Rosenior and he exchange passes, and Bournemouth just pushing Brighton back a little bit. It's given away. Poor pass here to Josh King. Chance for King. He takes the shot, and it's really well blocked by Lewis Dunk on the edge of the area.
Well, we've got away with that one. It's poor play from Duffy. Really sloppy. You know, the things were going great, but you have to concentrate at all times. Josh King, though, I think he's got to try and pass that. He's either got to pass it, or he's got to do more with it. He's got to shift it a yard and get a better shot off. It was lacking confidence, that.
All of a sudden it was 2-on-2. Defoe was up there with him. He went for the shot, but as Jermaine says, it lacked a little bit of belief, and well blocked by Lewis Dunk. Charlie Daniels is muscled out of it by 2 Brighton players. Hemed plays the ball first time to Gross on the right-hand side. Gross dummies across, and Charlie Daniels is back there. Gross takes the ball out of play. Bournemouth throw. 15 minutes have gone in the first half here. Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Harry Arter gives it to Mark Pugh. Pugh's come into this Bournemouth starting lineup tonight. On the dribble, cutting in from the left, looking for Jermaine Defoe. Stretching challenge there on Defoe by Duffy. Defoe keeps it in by the byline and is running away from goal. Strong challenge on him through the back of Jermaine Defoe. Referee Craig Pawson not interested in the appeals. Brighton have cleared it up to the halfway line. Hemed again has kept the ball well for his team. Laid it back to Knockaert, and Sutner's in loads of space on the left-hand side. Knockaert didn't see him, went for Solly March through the middle, and it's intercepted by Simon Francis. Harry Arter, outside of his left foot, curls a pass into space for Adam Smith to run onto. You can hear the Bournemouth fans roaring their encouragement as he comes hurtling down this right-hand side. Exchanges passes with Ryan Fraser. And again, little 1-2 between the pair. Now Andrew Sermon gets involved, slides one down that inside right channel. Ryan Fraser's quick, he's not that quick, and the ball runs behind harmlessly for a Brighton goal kick. Jermaine Genus.
Yeah, they've started reasonably well, Bournemouth. They have, but there's two things that are probably standing out to me. One is the lack of quality that's actually going into the box when they do get into good areas. And I suppose the two players out of the whole Bournemouth side that we've not spoke about is Josh King and Jermaine Defoe.
Yeah.
I know Josh King has just had a shot, but they've had very little kind of go into them, or they've had very little opportunity in terms of crosses that have been coming into the box, given the good positions they've got into. So that's something that Eddie Howe needs to try and sort out. 16
goals for Josh King last season, 13 of them in the last 16 games of the season. He was on such a roll then, just in a really good run of form. The chances were coming, and things have changed a little bit with the arrival of Jermaine Defoe, so he's not necessarily playing in a different position, but just not quite clicking for either of them. But as you say, Jermaine, they haven't really, on the evidence so far tonight, haven't really had the service.
No.
Simon Francis crosses the halfway line and then turns back, wants an option, almost loses the ball to Hemed. Hemed gets a tackle in, ball deflects off him, and it runs to Nathan Aki. Aki gives it to Sermon. Sermon right in the middle of the pitch, in the centre circle. Low left-footed ball to Adam Smith. Brighton frustrating Bournemouth at the moment. Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Two teams meeting again, by the way, on Tuesday night here in the Carabao Cup. But without being rude to that competition, this game certainly carries more import, and particularly for Bournemouth, sitting on 0 points, 19th position in the Premier League table. The only reason they're ahead of Crystal Palace is that Bournemouth have managed 1 goal this season and Crystal Palace haven't managed any. We've got commentary on them, by the way, tomorrow, our lunchtime kick-off. Our football correspondent John Murray's at Selhurst Park with David Pleat for Roy Hodgson's first game in charge of Crystal Palace against Southampton, who haven't started the season that brilliantly either. Another team struggling for goals. Our 3 o'clock commentary tomorrow, Watford against Manchester City, with your usual goals and update service during that one. Lots of Bournemouth possession here. Harry Arter spins in the centre circle, gives it to Francis. Francis wide to Fraser. Fraser back to Arter. Arter chips one up in the air, and the header is easily won by Lewis Duncan. He nods it out of play for a Bournemouth throw on the right-hand side. So Bournemouth haven't quite had the guile, the wit to break Brighton down just yet. Smith makes a little bursting run, a dart from the right-hand side to King, to Fraser, and back to Smith. Smith is bumped off it by Solly March. March to Hemed. Hemed back to March again, and Davy Proper fires one to his centre-back Lewis Dunk, and suddenly Jermaine Defoe was in his face, so he turns on his heel, plays it back to his goalkeeper Matt Ryan, and Brighton come away with the ball.
That's what Brighton are doing really well at the minute. They're even when Bournemouth are on the attack, when they win it back, they're managing to beat the press. So Bournemouth are going after them and trying to win the ball back straight away, but they're calm in possession. I think March has been very calm in possession. Ahmed has been very calm too.
Proper playing it up to Hemed. Hemed this time is able to turn and run. Strong tackle on him, but it was a ball-winning tackle from Adam Smith. Bournemouth fans liked it. Sermon to Daniels. He's closed down quickly. Deep inside the Bournemouth half. Nathan Aki up the middle of the pitch to Harry Arter. Arter spreads play to the left-hand side, and here's Mark Pugh. He's got Charlie Daniels just running up behind him to give him the overlap. He cuts infield, gives it to Arter. Arter looks up and hits the ball our way. High floating pass onto the chest of Adam Smith. Playing in front of Brighton at the moment, 40 yards from the Brighton goal. Fraser just sees a wall of yellow shirts in front of him, so comes back into central midfield to Sermon. Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Good ball from Arter to Charlie Daniels. First time pass to Pugh. Dummies the shot, hits it with his left foot. First really good chance of the evening for Bournemouth. It's off target. It's behind for the goal kick. A little bit more penetration.
Yeah, already there's arguments going on between Rosenior and Anthony Knockout. I think Rosenior's asking him to track Charlie Daniels, and I have to say, he's right. He's got a hard enough job on his hands dealing with Pugh, but Daniels going to keep making those runs, and that left-hand side of Brighton seems to be the weak spot. Sorry, the right-hand side of Brighton seems to be the weak spot.
20 minutes in, Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. So Bournemouth having lost the first 4 games of the season. I was looking actually though in their last 2 seasons in the Premier League, first 5 games, both times they had 4 points. So get a win tonight, they're on 3 points. Yeah. Although a big deal's been made about losing the first 4 games of the season, the situation they'll be in won't be that much different.
No,
really.
It won't be. But I think more than anything with Bournemouth, it's just the manner of the games. That like the West Brom game, they didn't lay a glove on West Brom, and okay, Man City, that was their best performance probably so far. But apart from that, it's just not looked like Bournemouth, and I think that's the only thing that they need to somehow try and rectify. And today they've had the majority of the possession, but still, you don't look convinced that they're going to score.
Adam Smith under pressure here from Solly March. Goes down and wins a free kick, possibly a little bit fortuitously. I think he was a bit concerned that Brighton were going to put Bournemouth on the break there, so went down looking. Andrew Sermon on the stretch here. Bournemouth, now that's sloppy. They've given the ball straight back to Brighton. Dale Stephens sells Harry Arter there completely, went sliding away, missing his tackle. Solly March, left-hand side, supporting run from Sutner, doesn't use him. Clips the pass across field to Dale Stephens, back to Lewis Dunk on the halfway line. Dunk is closed down by Josh King, so goes across the pitch to Shane Duffy. Duffy up the middle of the pitch to Knockaert. Knockaert back to Rosenior. Rosenior knocks one Pascal Gross.
Obviously the angle can show you here, this main angle that the game's been shown on. And it's for the benefit of everybody around the world, and we all are used to viewing football through this camera, aren't we? But if we could spread out and just show you the kind of movement or lack of movement that each and every player on the ball is seeing, then there'd be a real appreciation of perhaps understanding the way this game is at this moment in time. You've got 2 teams here looking not to lose at this moment in time.
Knockout. Stephens, the senior. Take care what you said. I mean, do you detect slightly less caution from Bournemouth?
for Brighton? Or are you saying it's the same for both?
I think it's very, very marginal, John, to be honest. I think there's similarities and characteristics exactly the same for both sides. Take Liam Rosini here with the man on the ball. When he gets the ball to full-back, he should have an option inside to his central.
Ryan.
Post.
Well, I was going to say there's a few of them not been at their best, and he was one of them that was on the list. And you know, as you said, that is Jermaine Defoe. He doesn't need to be involved in a game all the time, getting on the ball for him to be dangerous. It allows the ball to come across his body and just hits it. And the keeper's absolutely nowhere to be seen if that's on target.
Matt Ryan is the keeper. Half an hour played, first half, here on BBC Radio 5 Live and the BBC Sport app. Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Brighton with 4 points in the bag already this season. 0-0 draw at Watford, the 3-1 win over West Brom. And Bournemouth 4 defeats from 4 games so far, admittedly a couple of those against the big boys in Manchester City here and Arsenal away. Pascal Gross is able to bring the ball down inside the Bournemouth half. Kills a cross in towards Hemed, who's looking for a flick on. Adam Smith for Bournemouth clears up on the edge of his own area, bringing the ball forward. Now he floats a pass away to the left-hand side, which Josh King will chase, and King can't keep it in play. And he's another one, like it just like you were saying, Jermaine, with Harry Ard's performance. That is what Eddie Howe's been talking about all season. And even though Eddie Howe in his programme notes tonight says he takes full responsibility, it's lacking that spark.
It is, and what's also worrying is, you know, I thought they got off to a really positive start. They looked positive as a side, and as the game's gone on, they've got worse as a team. They've got worse individually, and that lack of confidence that's been mentioned, you can see it. You can see it within individuals. They're questioning passes. They're kind of looking up and almost throwing their arms around to almost say, well, you know, where are you? You know, it's not the Bournemouth that we're used to seeing. It happens, you know, it happens throughout the season. The only way to get that confidence is to win a game.
Yeah, they need a goal. They need something positive to happen. Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Simon Francis doesn't have a pass on, he doesn't feel forward, so he plays it back to Begovic, who's way outside his area here in his dark goalkeeping uniform and his big white gloves. And again, Simon Francis doesn't want to go forward, so Andrew Sermon drops in between his centre-backs to get things moving and strokes a beautiful pass away to Charlie Daniels. Daniels goes steaming down the left-hand side, crosses in above Defoe, above Dunk as well. Bounced awkwardly for Suttner, so he let it run past him. That means Ryan Fraser's got it on the right-hand side. Rolls it back to Adam Smith. 40 yards from the Brighton goal. Harry Arter, slight miscontrol. He's kept the ball. Plays it to Fraser. Fraser whips that ball in from the right-hand side. Defoe jumped, but Duffy was there ahead of him to head it away. Bit better from Bournemouth, and you can hear the home fans getting into it a little bit more. Fraser, edge of the area. Brighton, lots of bodies in front of him. Sermon. On to Charlie Daniels, about 35 yards out. Daniels cross to Fraser. Fraser works it to Pugh on the left-hand side. Again, Defoe just lurking in the middle. Pugh's cross in. Duffy stretches and clears. Fraser can't get on the end of that, but it runs to Sermon. Sermon back to Mark Pugh. Pugh to Daniels. Daniels trying to jink his way past Dale Stevens. Manages that, but Knockart's there back helping out, and Brighton are able to clear. Rossini up towards the halfway line. Hemed jumps and doesn't get any contact on the ball, so here come Brighton again, Bournemouth again, beg your pardon. 12 minutes left in the first half. Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. Adam Smith to Fraser. Where's that little moment of magic going to come from? Arter to Smith, all on the right-hand side here in a little triangle between Ryan Fraser, Adam Smith and Harry Arter, and Brighton quite happy to hold them there. More centrally they find Sermon. Sermon goes wide left to Daniels. Daniels with the outside of his left foot. Good ball to Josh King. King bursts past Duffy. Rossini is there, knocks it behind for the corner. 0-0.
Yeah, that's much better from Bournemouth now. They're starting to ask questions. There was an opportunity for Harry Arter to get the ball into Defoe. He had pinned Duffy on the edge of the box.
Corner taken short. Mark Pugh gets it back from Daniels. Now to Sermon. Harry Arter, edge of the area. Thinking about the right foot shot. Lays it off to Ryan Fraser. And Fraser's not strong enough there. Hemed in with the tackle. And just when you thought the opportunity was going to present itself, Arter couldn't get the shot away. Francis intercepts here, just inside the Bournemouth half. Half-time between Partick and Rangers. Go there in just a second. Let's just see what Bournemouth can do with this, though. Building up a little bit of a head of steam here. Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. In a so-called South Coast derby I've seen in the build-up to this one, although there is almost 100 miles between the two. Both are on the coast, they both are in the south. Here's down the left-hand side to Pugh. Defoe went near post, the cross went far post, no one in there. Suttner volleys it away. Sermon chests it down. Here's Francis to Aki. Aki 10 yards inside the Brighton half. Simon Francis having a shout at someone. Daniels ball in towards Defoe. Intercepted by Duffy again. He heads it away only as far as Pugh. Then gets a big right boot on the ball. Clears it to the halfway line. Simon Francis heads it sideways and has given it away here. And Brighton could now come on the break with Knockaert speeding forwards. Options left and right. Knockaert just rolls it short to Dale Stevens. Stevens looks up and looks for an option on the right-hand side. That's Gross out there. Gross to Stevens. Brighton have just slowed it down. Arter comes rushing in to make the challenge. Stevens sidesteps him, and then the ball is towed back into the Brighton half, and Lewis Dunk brings it forward. Dunk on the dribble, knocks it straight out of play. Partick Thistle against Rangers has reached half-time, and here's Roddy Forsyth.
Partick Thistle 0, Rangers 1. The goal that divides the sides scored after 8 minutes. Alfredo Moreira's finish equalling the grace of the move that led up to it. Rangers have lost their captain Lee Wallace, off injured with a groin strain. That's a problem when you're looking ahead to next week's Celtic derby. Partick Thistle 0, Rangers 1.
Bournemouth 0, Brighton 0. 9 minutes left in the first half here. Brighton come in again, but again forward to go backwards, and frustration continues to build. Jermaine Genus.
Yeah, one of the big things that keeps sticking out to me though is when they go down this left-hand side and they've had a bit of progress, and the thing that sticks out in your mind is part of you thinking, why are you crossing it? Because you've got Jermaine Defoe in there, but he's making one run. Where's Josh King? He needs to be making the second one. He's playing off Jermaine Defoe, he's not playing in midfield. I don't understand when these crosses are coming into the box why he's not that second one. Because Jermaine's taking defenders away. He should be flying in there, challenging people for headers. I mean, it just doesn't seem to really have that goal-scoring instinct about him at the minute. He's too happy to come as short into midfield as he is now, and just pass the ball backwards.
Next break in play, we'll give you the half-time details on Northampton Bath in the Aviva Premiership. While Jermaine was talking about Josh King there, again, there's just been lots and lots of Bournemouth passing and Brighton holding them at arm's length, but no real penetration from the home team. Arter to Daniels on the left-hand side, back to Arter again, midway inside the Brighton half. Here's Aki. Aki across to Francis. Francis to Adam Smith. Smith looking for that 1-2 with Fraser. Brighton have got it covered. Very, very organised, disciplined defensively, Brighton here. Adam Smith under pressure, gets his pass away to Sermon. Sermon tries to get it moving, finds Mark Pugh. Pugh on the dribble. Tackled by Knockaert, wins the ball back, pokes it to King. King to Defoe, edge of the area, lays it off to Mark Pugh. Pugh slides it to Fraser on the right. The ball in towards Josh King, doesn't run for him, and Davy Propper accidentally gets it back to his goalkeeper, Matt Ryan. Right, let's get the half-time from Northampton Bath then in the rugby. James Burridge.
And Northampton back into the lead here, Ali. They lead by 12 points. Crucial try before the break, scored by David Ribbon to the second row, a pushover from short range. That's after Bath have come right back into the game. Their set piece was well on top. Reece Priestland's boot doing the damage. This game could go either way. It's Northampton with the lead, 12-6 at half-time.
Adam Smith intercepting a ball here for Bournemouth on the edge of his own penalty area. We're 7 minutes away from half-time. It's 0-0. St Helens 12, Huddersfield 0. Still the latest score in the Rugby League, and if you want that, that's over on 5 Live Sports Extra. And my apologies to James Burridge as well, because he's been sitting there for about 7 or 8 minutes waiting to do his half-time report, and I know as a reporter there is nothing more annoying, because you know the in the pie is waiting for you, and if you get there late you're going to miss out.
So you've done him then?
I've done him. I've done him. I'm going to owe him.
I'm sure he'll get you back.
He will. 6 minutes to go, first half. Not been a thriller, has it, Joe? I mean, it's interesting.
It hasn't, no.
But
look, I think yes, it has been interesting. I think Brighton have got a lot more in them. I think they're fine. I think they're cruising at the minute. Their biggest enemy is themselves. They've caused themselves problems when they've kind of got overly confident and tried to pop it on a little bit too much. And it's going to be interesting to see if they do think at half-time, let's take a few more risks, because Bournemouth are here to be beaten.
Yeah.
They are. You know, the confidence is low. They're still dangerous, don't get me wrong, but I do think Brighton at some point might have to turn the screw.
Mark Pugh, nice turn inside the Bournemouth half. Good pass as well, finds Defoe. Back to goal on the edge of the area, gives it back to Pugh. Pugh just inside the box now, has support from Charlie Daniels behind him on the left. Daniels, little give and go. Josh King keeps it. King to Daniels. Daniels again to King, but Brighton again just forcing Bournemouth back yard by yard. Arter to Sermon. Sermon to Daniels, over to Pugh on the left-hand side. Pugh back to Sermon, Sermon on to Arter. Now a little bit of space opens up to his right. Simon Francis runs into that from centre-back. Gives it to Adam Smith. Smith looks up and he can just see lots and lots of yellow shirts blocking his view, looking for those little avenues to try and slide the pass into. Sermon on to Pugh. Lots and lots of passes completed here by Bournemouth. Not really going anywhere. What can they do here? Pugh on the left is given time to look up, looking for that option, plays it back to Arter. Arter across to Francis, 15 yards inside the Brighton half. Sermon, central position onto Josh King. He's got his back to goal, takes a touch, lays it off to Arter. Arter gives it to Daniels on the left-hand side. When's it going to happen for Bournemouth? Daniels to Arter. Arter to King, just outside the penalty area. Might fancy a dip here, but goes for the give and go with Pugh, and Pugh can't get the pass back to him, and after all that it breaks down. Hemed's fouled and Brighton get the free kick. 0-0.
But I can understand why Bournemouth are getting frustrated. It's difficult to play against sides like this. As you keep saying, Alistair, it's a sea of yellow. Every time Smith gets the ball on this right-hand side at almost kind of the right wing-back position. I know he's not playing there, but that's the position of the pitch that he's at. We've got a perfect view of what he's got against him, and it is just a lot of yellow shirts. Defoe's trying to find a yard of space, but when that does happen, you do have to be patient. You have to keep it, and you have to try and find your 1v1 situations, and that's out wide. So Fraser, I'd encourage him to come and stay on this touchline for a little bit, as Pugh is on the other side. He's going in central and kind of just crowding it out a little bit for them.
3 minutes left in the first half. First of 4 Premier League commentaries this on 5 Live over the weekend. 12:30 tomorrow we've got Crystal Palace Southampton for Roy Hodgson's first game in charge at Selhurst Park. Solly March volleys across into the penalty area here, which is an awkward one for Begovic to take on the bounce, but he's done that well. He bowls the ball out underarm to Sermon. Bournemouth fans urging him to get it forward. It's gone sideways to Adam Smith. Fraser's gone 10 yards in from the right-hand touchline. Smith decides not to give it to him. Eddie Howe scribbles another note on his little notepad ready for half-time. And Bournemouth decide to go down the left, where they've had a little bit more joy. Not like that, though. Daniel's cross is headed away by the first defender. Brighton have everyone behind the ball here, inside their own half, as we approach half-time. Francis to Smith. Smith, again being forced backwards, turns, gives it to Fraser. Fraser back to Smith, and Smith goes back into his own half. And you can hear those murmurs around us from some of the home fans getting a little bit.
Who are you helping by bringing someone down? Are you going to feel good about yourself when all the drama dies down and the numbers are gone?
Damn, what's up with all this negativity on YouTube right now? What happened to the massive orgy we used to have every year at VidCon? It's time to hit the like button on compliments. It's time to subscribe to each other's feelings. It's time for diss tracks to become not me. We should stop the diss and we should share a hug. It's obvious that y'all just do it for the subs. I'ma keep it positive and show some love. Shower you in compliments, go get a tub. Like Jake Paul, got more hits than baseball. Taking 30% of your time, but you deserve more. You should take more, then you can donate more. Talking about your charity work shows you're not an a-hole. And KSI, such a clever guy. Moved from YouTube to music by doing raps with Rise. It's no surprise that Red was on the rise. So smart to start some fake beef so the sideman could survive. And edgy, you're so fucking edgy. Your racist, sexist rants make freedom of speech look so sexy. Your raps are cold, your statements are so bold. You're such a great role model for the nation's 5-year-olds. Damn, all of this love is making me so hard right now. So hard, we got Conor Maynard.
Yeah. 10 million views in a week. You do that shit in your sleep. You are so talented, chasing your management, hoping this isn't your peak. The music ain't got any flaws. I wanna cover you all, but copyright strikes and too many dislikes got me feeling so scared of Jake Paul. Making so much money, you should buy a Lambo, but you never show off your car, so we'd never know. Materialistic you're not, and all of your girlfriends are hot. So clear they're in love with the person you are, and not all of the things that you got.
Oh shit. Casper? Is that?
Hey, how's it going, bros? My name is Peter Pan.
I think it is. No, no,
Who are you helping by bringing someone down? Are you going to feel good about yourself when all the drama dies down and the numbers are gone?
Damn, what's up with all this negativity on YouTube right now? What happened to the massive orgy we used to have every year at VidCon? It's time to hit the like button on compliments. It's time to subscribe to each other's feelings. It's time for diss tracks to become not me.
Pressure hot, they all watching now. Make a mistake, world on me now. It ain't easy, just a kid from a small town. To every news publication trying to take me down, I'm human too. They want me to lose, want me in the noose, but they ain't tell the truth. Trying to drag my name, trying to stop my game. Don't know the pain, bitch, I know the pain. Man, where was y'all at when I was on the email? Trying to stop the press fans from killing themselves, man. Where was y'all at when I was in the kitchen whipping up meals for kids on Thanksgiving? Where was y'all at when I was with the teacher, handing out backpacks and handing out t-shirts? Where was y'all at when Make-A-Wish hit me to be my girl Kaylee? Damn, that shit changed me. That ain't on the news. That ain't on the news. You think you know me, but that ain't on the news. That ain't on your Twitter.
Damn, what's up with all this negativity on YouTube right now? What happened to the massive orgy we used to have every year at VidCon? It's time to hit the like button on compliments. It's time to subscribe to each other's feelings. It's time for diss tracks to become not mean.